Well, hi everyone. Welcome to another edition of Icon Elevate. You can see we're in person. My great pleasure to welcome Icon's long-standing medical director, Dr Ian Irving. Ian, welcome. Thanks for joining us on Icon Elevate. Wonderful to have you here with us. You have effectively been with Icon really since day one, which is now, for you and I, it's a decade, and in fact more when you think about when you started your medical practice in Townsville, for example. So wonderful for the team to be able to hear about your career journey and your role today. So the first question I wanted to ask you, Ian, was can you tell us what your role entails at Icon and what it means from day to day? Because I think people know you're the group medical director. They know it's a big role, but they don't really know what it means. So what do you do?
Sure, Mark. You're absolutely right. It's been an amazing 10 and a half years now, and as you and Stuart and I have mulled over the years, it was day one that myself and colleagues in Townsville signed on to Icon, and that was at a time where we certainly had no Icon Centre in Townsville. There was a vision and a dream, and there were only 4 sites in Brisbane. You know, we now have over 10 times that number of sites around the country, which has been fantastic to be part of that growth, and to have signed on in day one and to see it come to fruition has been very special.
Yeah, absolutely.
My role as medical director I see as broadly twofold. I mean, on one hand, I represent the doctors and clinician involvement, not just doctor, but nursing, pharmacist and doctor involvement, radiotherapists, physicists, direct involvement with the company has been obviously part of our strength. And those craft groups, as well as being involved in the day-to-day management of the company, are also shareholders of the company, which is a unique and very positive position that Icon's is in, and part of my role is to represent the doctors on the Icon board, to ensure that the company at that board level practices with patients, doctors and staff in mind, as well as, of course, adhering to financial governance. The second part of my role that really has expanded over the 10 years as our sites have expanded is being responsible for clinical governance and clinical leadership within Icon. Over that 10 years, we've now filled in, with your leadership and my help, we've filled in clinical medical leadership below me, and we've got directors of radiation oncology, medical oncology and haematology. And in some of the craft groups like radiation oncology, there are state leads and various directors of training. So that day-to-day management of issues, of quality, of succession planning, of clinical governance is become a big part of my role, like it should.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a big role. Now, while you're doing that big role, you also maintain your clinical practice as a haematologist, and as you and I have talked about so many times, I think that is absolutely critical to the role of our medical director. You flagged that you started out with, your practice in Townsville became part of Icon. Tell us about the highlights of your medical career so far.
Right. Yes, I completely agree with you, Mark, that it's very important that the group medical directors are practicing clinician. Yes, half of my time is taken up practicing at Icon Wesley and also visiting Icon Mackay, practicing as a haematologist. It's a very rewarding career being a doctor, and I agree from the company's point of view, and it's also very important that I'm involved in day-to-day clinical care, because at the end of the day, as you've said many times, we're here for the patients. The highlights of my medical career is, I've sort of gone back and forward across the country and worked in different places. Medicine to me is about people. It's about treating patients. I've always really enjoyed that aspect of being a doctor, where you're actually treating patients, you're actually providing care as a human to a fellow human who often has a significant medical problem. So that human interaction has been a real a real bonus over the years. And going with that is working with staff, and particularly bringing in junior haematologists. So I now work very closely with a particular haematologist, Joe Clary, who's really works in partnership with me, and we share a lot of patients and cover ourselves. And Joe in the past had been one of our trainees. Over the 20 plus years that I've been a haematologist, I've brought on numerous registrars who've come on to work in ICON or in various other hospitals over the years, and that nurturing of colleagues and bringing people through has been a real highlight for me.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's such a great point of how we have senior clinicians who work with younger clinicians and bring them through so they understand what it means to be part of a team like ICON. Now, Ian, what you've just outlined suggests to me you are a very busy person. So what does Ian Irving do to relax and recharge? Anything? Or you can be like me, my kids, Dad, you've got to get a hobby.
Yes, I get this. I get this a lot, and I think some of my family have given up on me getting a hobby. It's been a very busy 10 years, and yeah, I've made a real effort over the last number of years to try to take some holidays. It's been a little bit of a challenge with COVID, so just as that sort of plan was being made to take off most school holidays and spend some time with the family on school holidays, obviously COVID came along. But I guess that's what I'm trying to do, is spend some more time with the kids while they're young. I mean, there's 3 of our children are now adults and in varying stages of independence. I don't think they're quite ever independent, your children from you, of course, but yeah, I can't say I have a lot of hobbies, because as you say, between ICON and family, life's very busy, but probably like yourself, I wouldn't have it any other way, and exactly. It's certainly been a great journey. Yeah,
okay. So basically from your answer, Ian, I can read into it that relaxation and recharging is something you're working on. And that's, I think that's for everyone in the team. It's something we need to think about and have front of mind, and think about how we can do that. Thinking about the future, we've got a big future ahead of us as an organisation. What do you see as the most exciting developments that are coming in cancer care?
Right. I mean, cancer care has just changed enormously. We talk about personalised cancer care, and it now is a reality that actually, in day-to-day practice in the clinic, you perform various blood tests or bone marrows or biopsies, and you look at the genetic profile of the tumour, and treatment is changed according to the actual genetic makeup of the malignancy. So that will continue to accelerate. We've gone away from just old-fashioned blunderbuss chemotherapy type drugs plus radiation fields that were just square blocks. Drugs are much more precise. Radiation fields are incredibly precise. So that sort of precision and tailoring of treatment, I think, will continue. Is already upon us, but will continue. The second thing that is already with us to a certain extent and will continue is the cancer to become a chronic disease. So, cancer used to be a death sentence, and really, you go back 50 years and not too many people survived cancer apart from early stage disease that was treated adequately with surgery. That's completely changed, and a whole host of cancers are acting more like chronic diseases. So that will change. The final sort of summary point about change into the future is, and we're a big part of this at ICON, is care will continue to be decentralised.
Yep.
I mean, it used to be, for example, certain cancer cares, you would only get done in one part of Australia, and everyone would have to go there for their actual dose of whatever treatment they were getting. Now people are quite rightly expecting and receiving care close to home. But they don't just want second-rate care that is close to their home. The care that's delivered in a regional setting or a rural setting needs to be of the same quality that you would get in a major city. And so that decentralisation of care, but offering quality and sophisticated care closer to people's home, will continue to be a big part of what we do in the future.
Absolutely. Now, and I always round out these sessions with some sort of, I guess let's call them rapid fire questions. So I'm just going to hit you with them. What book would you recommend I read? Any thoughts? What are you reading at the moment?
What do I read?
Or a great book you've read. The team loves knowing about books.
Right. I must say I should read much more. At the moment, I'm reading a Kazuo Ishiguro book. That is, a fantastic book, and he's a great author. And the other book, the Nicholas Taleb books, I would recommend you read. I think they're really provocative books.
Yeah, good. I was thinking you might mention... Just joking. Great book. I like that book.
I've got a copy on my desk and I refer to it every week. Okay.
Good stuff. Sorry too, mate, to throw that in. Shameless self-promotion. Now, who has inspired you to be your best? Who's someone, it can be any walk of life, that you found really inspiring?
Right. I mean, many people inspire you, on a day-to-day, year-to-year basis. I mean, I'd have to say my mother. I mean, my mother, who did die a number of years ago, but she really inspired me through school and through university, not by being a tiger mum at all, not by being overly aggressive, but just by leading by example, by being quietly spoken, by actually setting standards and setting expectations.
Yep.
And through that osmosis, that example from my mum really set me on a path where, I do believe it's important every day, every year to, not just think of what you get out of life for yourself, but to look at it as what you contribute to society, what you contribute, to others. And that sort of work ethic, as well as caring for others, I would say definitely came from my mother.
Yeah, absolutely. No, great answer. Last of these questions, and this will date you a little bit. First music album you ever bought with your own money?
With my own money? Now, that will certainly date me. The first, I'm pretty sure it was AC/DC, Back in Black.
Back in Black?
Yeah.
1980, that was released. Just to show, yeah, well,
yes.
There you go. Great album.
Yes.
Great album. No, well done. That's a great choice. I think that'll have a lot of fans. Ian, just to round out, AFL or NRL?
Definitely rugby league, growing up in Brisbane. Although I also probably date me. In the AFL, I have been a lifelong Carlton supporter, and I think dating from, I guess, the first memories of watching what we called Aussie Rules on the TV with Alex Jesselenko playing, and that was so. I still am a Carlton supporter, but definitely growing up in Brisbane, rugby league.
Yeah, okay, good stuff. Ian, thank you so much for joining us on Icon Elevate. I think it's always wonderful when the team can learn more about people who they see and hear from a lot, but may not necessarily know everything that you do. And thanks for your contribution to Icon. So much more of the story yet to write. And thank you for everything you do for our team.
Yeah, no, pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.